Cortex is the productivity stack. This is the stack you want to take for total mental energy, total mental dominance, total motivation, verbal fluency, focus, and the drive to get work done. Get the Cortex Nootropics stack at livecortex.com. Feel what it feels like to fire on all cylinders.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan here to give you some more information about nootropics. Yeah, I would expect you to punch me in the face if I always talk like that, but every now and then I go whip out the radio voice. Okay, so let's talk about using aniracetam versus other racetams for particular situations in which you've got to do a whole lot of recall, and particularly when you're around other people. I think it's particularly relevant to me, and I think it seems to be more relevant for folks in the professional sector that spend a lot of time in meetings and having to convey important points about inventory or business or marketing or quarterly revenue or whatever of a business to a senior level person or to a group of people. I think this is also relevant for people that give speeches to 4 to 10 to 20 to 50 people, I would say. I think this is also particularly relevant to folks that give speeches to between 4 and 10 people in a business meeting context. I'm going to talk about which racetams work well for that, particularly how aniracetam is my favorite one for that kind of situation. And not necessarily because of the verbal fluency, but more so because of the verbal recall and just a synthesized feeling that I have control over every facet of the information that I need to deliver to people in these kind of situations. We're going to get to that in just a second, but we just launched, as you saw in a previous video, the Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam. We're basically going to do a beginner's guide to everything. Folks asked us, write one for aniracetam, write one for modafinil, write one for oxiracetam. And by the way, if you think you're too fancy and advanced, you're not for this guide. The Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam breaks down everything you need to know. It's essentially the guide I wish I had on aniracetam years ago. The guide that nootropics enthusiasts wish they had on aniracetam. Breaks down 25 powerful aniracetam stacks, shows you how to take aniracetam, how to dose aniracetam, how to cycle aniracetam, what to take when you cycle off aniracetam, what you could stack with aniracetam. It breaks down stacking aniracetam with PL853, with phenylpiracetam, with uridine, with triacetouridine, with tyrosine, with all the choline sources, with centrophenoxine, basically everything else in between. Best part is probably the price point, $19.99 on the Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam. Just launched, fully digital, get it at livecortex.com. Now we've got so many products I don't have time to explain them, so there'll be a video at the end of the video here that explains the products. We've got a bunch of other digital nootropic stack lists that give you specific stacks for NooPep, specific stacks for all the other racetams, and then we got one for business professionals called the Nootropic Stacks for Business Professional Guide. We got a powerful product called Cortex, pre-made stack. Take it, turn the lights on. It is a cognitive heightening pre-made nootropic stack. Cortex, get it at livecortex.com. Lastly, we do nootropics consulting, 40-minute call with yours truly, 15 additional email correspondences. Okay, so let's just break this down. I often end up in meetings where I've got to recite information to folks. The last one particularly was with Cortex Labs. Investors came in and asked us, what happens when you start to do well in an industry and folks notice it is investors that like to invest money into growing companies come into the play. I don't know how they find you, I don't know how they get all, they probably have scouts and stuff. And they hit you up and say, look, we'll invest $1 million into your company, right? Just an example. And in exchange, we'll take 30% of your company. And then we get to sort of decide how the company goes moving forward. And what they're in it for is they put $1 million in. They want to get you to sell the company like 10 years later or 5 years later for $10 million. They want to get you to grow it and then sell it, and then they'll make out of their $1 million that they put in, they'll make 3 or 4 and $5 million, whatever. 10 times or 20 times what they put in is really what they're shooting for. And so, I've had a bunch of investors approach me because Cortex Labs is growing. Our product is out there in many countries. Folks really love the pre-made stack. It's a hit. It's growing. And so that happened. I'm not going to take any other deals because I don't really like to lose control, even if it's 30% of the company. And I think I know the direction of the company. But anyway, sitting down in meetings with these guys, they basically require that you, in order to truly understand your company, to decide whether or not they want to get involved, you got to break everything down from monthly revenue to what percentage of revenue you've grown month over month from a particular time, to like sort of projecting out into further markets and how you're going to reach those markets and what products you're going to create, etc. So it's a whole lot of And this is where Aniracetam plays a particularly important role. There's a whole lot of sort of siloed, I want to say like compartmentalization is probably the best way. Compartmentalize it, where you explain one sector of what you need to explain. You sufficiently explain all the details within that sector, and then you move on to another sector. And total, the meeting might encompass like 7 major sectors of things within which you've got to break down a bunch of details about that thing. And so the capacity to focus on that individual thing you're talking about, break down all the details that you remembered, right? Aniracetam forces the brain to release acetylcholine in the hippocampus, which is your memory-centric region of the brain. Also anecdotally improves memory I/O, which is this ability to take things in and put them in your working memory and then take them out of your working memory, sort of on the fly. Just a very interesting working memory flexibility capacity. And so that's one of the reasons it's important, toggling between all these different sectors, but then slowing down when you're explaining individual things to people and just getting into the details of that compartment in this wider scale of compartmentalization in 7 different sectors of things you've got to explain that all have their own individual details, but that come together in a larger whole in the end. No other racetam is better than Aniracetam for that, for me. And you would think that in a particular situation like that, that oxiracetam, and or phenylpiracetam would be better, because they do seem to, and even piracetam. For me, the verbal fluency is better with phenylpiracetam, oxiracetam, and piracetam compared to Aniracetam. But what is better with Aniracetam is this capacity to have fully functional working memory, to toggle between different things, and to stay so situated on the on the order. Like, I have an order of things I got to say. I remembered it. I've got 7 different things, large level, high level things I got to talk about, within which they have all these details. Like, doing that and having the brain function to do that, the sort of siloed individual things that contribute to a greater whole. That type of brain function is Aniracetam brain function, no doubt. Okay. So I just wanted to give that anecdotal for folks. Like, this is along the lines of the idea that we like to sort of help people to understand over time taking nootropics, which is to try to learn which nootropics turn on which brain functions so that you can use them specific to the kind of things you're going to be engaging in life. Okay, so this applies to, like, if you are like one of our consulting clients is a woman who gives speeches, sales speeches basically. She just tries to sell software to 5 to 10 people in a room. And so she's got to run through, like if you're doing a sales pitch on software, you got to run through all these different things, all the features, all the benefits, maybe what the software is built on, like they built it on Ruby on Rails, or it's, whatever, some other programming language, JSON, son. And so, like, there's just that kind of complex coupled things that folks have to remember and be able to give in that speech. Sometimes the nootropics that really crank up verbal fluency might make the brain work so quick. That's why verbal fluency is happening there, that this capacity to just work with many, many details is, I wouldn't say impaired at any capacity, but it's just like, it's not focusing solely on that. And Aniracetam definitely is. So that's my take on it. That's an anecdotal of using Aniracetam for particular situations. I hope this has been helpful. Hey, Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam just launched, digital, $19.99. Get it at livecortex.com. Well, the video here that explains everything that we've got at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for watching. What's up, everybody? Ryan Michael Balla here. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Look, we've got, as it stands, 5 primary products that I want to just explain to you. You heard us mention them during the video, so I'm going to break them down. Number 1, from left to right, the Cortex Nootropics Stack. This is a cognitive enhancement stack that you really want to take to turn the lights on. Just to give you an idea, hardcore business folks that require 18 to 20 hours of brain function, take the Cortex Stack. That's what we initially designed it for, but then like everybody in the nootropic sphere loved it. Verbal fluency, speed of processing, motivation, drive to want to work. That's what the Cortex Stack does. Moving right along, the Aniracetam guide there, that is called the Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam, breaks down 25 powerful Aniracetam stacks, shows you how to use Aniracetam. It's essentially the everything guide to Aniracetam. Long demanded, folks asked us for it. We delivered. It is fully digital, lots of powerful stacks. And then there's the nootropic stack for the business professional.
That's basically 100, right around 100 powerful uridine, modafinil, theacrine, aniracetam, oxiracetam, phenylpiracetam, Alcar stacks for business situations, for the type of brain states that business folks need for sustained performance. Next is the Racetam God Guide. That is a high-level every Racetam guide, digital guide. We've got all the major Racetams with accompanying focus stacks and memory stacks and speed of processing stacks. In that Racetam. There's 8 major nootropic Racetams, and that guide explains all of them and accompanying stacks. Then there's the NuPep Pro Stack List. The NuPep Pro Stack List is a digital guide that explains oral, so just taking it by mouth, sublingual, taking it under the tongue, and then intranasal, spraying NuPep nasal spray in your nose, stacks. It's just a bunch of stacks, a giant stack list of NuPep stacks that are highly effective, pro-level, specific brain state inducing type of NuPep stacks. That thing has been a hit out there with the market. And then last, there's Smarter, Better, Faster. Smarter, Better, Faster is the all-around, everything nootropics digital guide. If you just want to learn everything, many racetams, modafinil, etc., get Smarter, Better, Faster. It's like the guide you need to know if you're new to nootropics, to learn basically everything and to walk away knowing what you need to know on nootropics. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. Get this stuff at livecortex.com and rock on.